Make my own rules, play my own games. I don't give a what you
Hi,
say.
I'm Rey.
And I'm Steph,
And this is the SciComm Hotline.
where we gossip about all the cringe and exciting ways science is communicated in real life.
So let's bring the drama.
I'm free.
Happy New Year in a month. If you can't see it, Stephanie is having her 2025 head tingly. What do you call it?
I don't know. It's just like a little headband that has 2025 from I had it last year. Definitely not on brand. Well, it is New Year's related, but it's not the right year.
It is on brand Stephanie.
Yeah, exactly. Just having wearing something on my head.
Yes.
Well, how are you, Ray? I miss you. Haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, it's been 3 weeks or even a month.
I think it's almost been, I
Yeah.
think so.
It's been too long, other than occasional voice messages and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Ray was traveling. I was in the neck deep into client work that
mhm.
I finally emerged from, and now I'm so burnt out.
Fun.
Mhm.
Do I want to start with my catch-up hate?
Yeah, I guess you can start.
Okay. Um, you know what I want to talk about a little bit. Would you categorize that as PG if someone is like sitting in a car with children? Like this is parent
Um,
advisory?
maybe like PG-13, but I put in our podcast, I put explicit because we do cuss. So I actually label our stuff as explicit.
Right. Correct. Yeah, I feel like this might be like the most vulnerable I've ever been. And I've talked about like serious stuff, but I feel like this is like a whole other level of vulnerability.
Well, this is personal. I think you talked about like serious stuff in context of like our SciComm work or like the stories and people you interact with. But this is a TMI vulnerable.
This is TMI vulnerable. So beware. Um I don't know if there's any other way to
Yeah,
start.
you're. It's like you're like, I don't even start this.
I'm a side out. I
Literally.
literally my butt is too tight. My butt is too tight and I'm getting Botox injection probably by the end of the month. And it's nerve-wracking to even talk about it.
Mhm, mhm. It feels a little dirty, a little secretive, a little no.
It's so weird. It took me a very long time to like feel comfortable even telling like people like what's going on. And it's so funny because I feel like we had an episode where we talked about Botox and you're like, finally I'm getting it in my butt.
I
Um,
don't think we released that episode.
oh, we did not. Oh,
We didn't, because that was the episode that I talk shit about Mark Rober, and we used it to tease in, like, social media, but we never released it because that was also the episode where I went down that rabbit hole to talk about, like, how science and war is just, like, so conflated that, like, after that episode ended, I was like, I didn't say some smart shit, so let's not."
well, we did also talk about Botox and how complicated it is to like alter faces, but also like the world pushing us to look young and whatever. And it looks like I might be getting Botox. Okay, so this is hard.
On the opposite side of your face. You don't have to talk about it either.
No, I think I do want to right.
Maybe lead with, like, you felt empowered by seeing Naomi talk about.
I did. Yeah, we did talk about that. Okay, let me start there. So Naomi, who is one of our favorite science communicators, and you should check their stuff out. Bimbo Science, correct? Yeah. Um,
But I think I don't know, yeah, her handle is like Naomi. I was gonna say Campbell. Cobell?
Belic,
No.
Co
Yes.
Belic. Maybe I'll talk about it while you're checking it out. But Naomi had like a kind of like a campaign or like a branding thing that was Hot Girls Have IBS. And that was, I think, a few years ago. And the content was hilarious. And Naomi is a hot girl. Like, it's just,
Mhm.
she's like beautiful and funny and kind and just so creative and all of those kind of things. And as another girl with IBS, I think just like watching that content It was very empowering and so nice and kinda like I felt very seen. I was like, "Yeah, I don't have to feel like I maybe the word is like undesirable, honestly, right? When like you talk about IBS and stuff like that. We were like, yeah, you know what? I'm a hot girl and I have IBS. And Naomi talks about it. So it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to see that content out there. It's okay to have all of these things happening to you and you're still a whole human with all the different things. Um and when I was thinking of what's happening to me, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, there was a moment where I thought, you know what, like how much I appreciated Naomi talking about like topics of science communication that are embarrassing and shameful without having all of those associations. That matters. That's like a very important part of science communication, especially like I know what the other side of that shame is. Like I worked in Iran in a hospice and I remember having a patient who had metastatic breast cancer and she was just so embarrassed to even go to the doctor and talk about it or talk to anyone about it that like it killed her,
Mm.
right? Like these are topics that are just like you need to talk about it. You need to feel comfortable doing that. And right now we talk about like more breast related stuff, but we don't talk about our butts as much. Okay, so the story started that a few months ago, I started having a little bit of pain in my booty. I went to the doctor and they were kind of like a little like dismissive and they were like, oh, like do sitz baths and like it might be hair follicle and stuff. And it just like it still was there, like the pain was there. And eventually what it turned out to be, and this is like my latest doctor who had like a Iranian colorectal surgeon. What? Um all the Iranian colorectal surgeons. Um, she basically she examined me and she said, "Ma'am, you're like really, really tight, like really tight." And I'm like,
I can't even get my finger up there. This is so tight.
and I'm like, it's like I was like, "Oh, is it kind of like it's like a little bit like positive, like you're tight." It's like
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, like, when you think about shit, like, sexually, like, "Oh, yeah," you know?
like thank you.
Yeah, 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 "Is this good? I'm keeping my sphincter tight to keep my poop in, is that a good thing?"
I mean, I do a lot of pelvic floor exercises, so I'm glad you've noticed. But, and then she was like, "Well, you know, anyone like, everyone keeps their stress somewhere." I was like, "Okay, I don't think that's a good thing."
That's
But
so funny.
basically, I think my butt is so tight that normally we all like if we have like if we're constipated, have IBS, like any sort of thing that happens, you probably have a little bit of like bunch of like scars and stuff down there. And then you have like a cut or whatever, like it heals, right? Like you're constipated, tear something, it heals. In my case, my butt is so tight that I don't have enough blood flow. So when I have cuts and stuff, they don't heal and it becomes like worse and painful and just like it irritates and it hurts like the whole time. And the alternative that they're gonna do is like first of all, like they give you some like medications and stuff to use. But one of the options is like they basically inject Botox to your like butthole. I know some of my friends
Force
were
you
like
to relax, so your butthole's gonna be smizing the whole time.
I was so much butt expression. That would be yes, that would be my face. Um, my friends were like, "Oh, if there's like any extra ones, can you get it for like, you know, just like a little bit of like face or anything?" Um, and I was like, "Okay, like my job is like very public. Like I do workshops, I give talks and stuff. What's this side effect of this Botox?" And she was like, "Oh no, like there's like a very small chance that like some people would have like problem with like gas control, but like honestly, you're so tight. I don't think that's gonna happen to you." And even though she said that, like, I still like, I don't know, I can't be doing, like, a public talk and then just, like, have a
Pass
situation
gas.
pass
Mhm.
gas and be like, "Sorry, like, I just had butt Botox." Like, explain that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't have control over my anal.
yeah, so this is gonna be a problem. Yeah, so I'm scheduled for a surgery end of the month. It's, like, under anesthetics, they're gonna work on some of my scars, they're gonna figure out this Botox situation, deciding if they're gonna do it or not. But yeah, if I died, like, I need you to go tell people she died saving a child in the street, got hit by a car. Like, don't tell them.
Oh my gosh, you're not gonna die, Ray.
Don't tell them she was getting a butt Botox or whatever is happening.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I guess there is always risk with, like, going into surgery, but yeah, you're not gonna die, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna
No,
be
I
fine.
yeah, I know. It's just it's a little scary, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not one of those things that you can, like, easily tell people, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go get my butt fixed." It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
even
But
hmm,
with, like, the rise of, like, colon cancer and shit like that, it's like, at least you are being proactive, and this is not cancer related, but still, like, having like, people avoid like, men avoid getting their prostate checked
right.
because it's a very vulnerable thing, or it's very, like, "I don't want another male doctor sticking their finger up my butt," or, yeah, if we wanna go get a colonoscopy, that's, like, so much yeah, that it's just you're in a vulnerable position,
Yeah.
um, and so people would avoid that at all costs. So, yeah, kudos for you for continuing to advocate for yourself when people dismissed you at first, and then, you found a doctor that listened, and you're doing something about it.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, thank you. They are actually gonna biopsy, like, my scars and stuff just to make sure it's, like, nothing what is badchim? The Persian word comes to my mind. Like, good or bad, you know what I mean.
Yeah, just to get a biopsy is what that means of just
Yeah,
yeah,
just to see
good
what
cells, bad cells,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
what the growth is looking like.
Yeah. So maybe my advice to people listening, we usually talk about the science of science communication, but this one is more like a health comms thing. First of all, don't spend too much time on the bathroom. Don't push too hard because you don't want a fissure on your in your butt because it's gonna be very painful. And if you're tight and it's not gonna heal properly, and check in with doctors. Don't let pain and stuff just go unnoticed. If you have IBS, try to take care of it. Honestly, again, Naomi has a lot of good content on like IBS and everything. And I try like hypnosis. I have an app that has been actually doing really, really great. And yeah, I know it's shameful, but I also feel like the more we talk about these things, the more we say words that is like hard for me to say. Like it's hard for me to say anal. Like
Yeah,
it's very hard for me to say it, but like the more we say it, the more we can talk about things that are important to talk about. So
yeah.
yeah.
It makes me think of I don't know if this is like a good not example, but yeah, it makes me think of because I think right before recording, Ray was like, "Okay, is this considered SciComm? Is this more like public health communication?" Which is
Mhm.
still technically science communication, but I guess like we don't talk about it because we're mostly talking about climate change or vaccines is always like the more controversial topics and not anal glands. But yeah, like I remember our friend Marin did like a whole series on Seeker and also I forgot the other company that she did about just like women's health because it's like we don't even make content around that of just who, like what is why people advocate a lot for boys and girls to be watching, like, their at least in the United States, when we were, like, 3rd grade, we had to have, like, the videos about, like, our hormones are changing, but they always separated us, like, boys will go into
Mhm.
one room, girls would go into the other, they'll watch their own content, but then we have, like, men that are, like, in their 30s who, like, don't know what discharge is, you know?
Right,
So
right.
I feel like the push to, like, have these uncomfortable conversations and even younger with, like, smaller children I've seen some parents advocate to be like, don't say like, "Oh, your private parts." Just be like, "No, like that is a penis, that is a vagina," because if something, God forbid, happens to that child, they're able to label it without shame because it's like that is just anatomically what is called and not just like feeling shame of just like, "Oh, his little peepee or his little papa," or like giving it cute names because then it just like either feeds into that shame base stuff or of just like not being able to label it correctly that it just gets either dismissed or brushed under without it being recognized and fully
Right.
taken, like, held accountable for.
Yeah. It's so interesting, like, even when you're saying that, like, in a meta way, like, as you were saying, I was like, "Oh, I kept saying, my butt. I'm getting Botox in I'm not getting a Botox in my butt. I'm getting Botox in my butthole." And it's
Yeah.
hard for me to say it. You know what I mean? It's just, like, such
Yeah,
in the moment, like,
yeah.
the
Because I was like, "Oh, you get butt." I'm like, "You think your butt's like a butt cheek? We get some vaccines on our butt cheeks."
right.
We just say butt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Man,
Mhm.
that's bizarre. It also reminds me of, like, men watch that, women watch that. It's, like, in a very big scale of it, it's also kinda like when Hidden Figures, like, came out and were like, "Oh, like, this many like, so many women watched it, women should" I'm like, "No, no, no, men should watch that." It's actually, like
Mhm.
a lot of these kinda, like, stuff, like, I think it's easier for me to talk to women about it, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So, like, this is, like, so simple, like, I do kendo and I go to my dojo, and I'm gonna be missing some classes because I'm gonna have my surgery. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, like, how do I communicate that?" Right? Like, I'm obviously not gonna go tell people, like, I had, like, a surgery for my anal fissure. I might
Yeah,
tell
yeah, you have to tell them the details, you know?
right, right, right. I'm not gonna tell the details. Like, I might tell some of the women, but it's
Mhm.
also, like, something like it's such a it's such a like, a thing that, yeah, like, with like, when genders, like, come in it, you feel like, "Oh, no, no, no," it's just like but, like, no, like, like, if someone gets breast cancer, like, you sometimes talk about that, like, what are the lines that you're like, "I had a surgery, I had this surgery, how much of a name do you give to it?" Which again, like, I understand, I'm not saying, like, people should say it because at the end of the day, it's, like, very personal, it's very private.
Yeah, it's no one else's business but
Right,
besides your own.
right, right, right. But I think for me, it's more that I feel shame saying it. It's not more of a choice of, "I'm not gonna say it because it's mine." It's more like, "I'm not saying it because I feel shame."
Mm,
I
mhm,
think that's the
mhm,
part
mhm.
that to me is like, I don't like that."
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Mhm. Well, thanks for being so vulnerable, and now people can listen to this podcast and just know that you are getting surgery because you have anal fissures. Because you're so uptight that your own poop cuts you.
That's so funny because in Persian, if someone is like if someone is like, You have a tight ass too." You're like, "Oh, like, tight ass is like a literal thing. I'm literally tight ass."
Yeah, yeah,
Like, the
yeah, yeah,
stress
yeah.
and everything. Like, wow, this is
Ugh.
no more metaphorical.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hope your surgery goes well, the Botox, you don't get the negative side effects about it, so you don't pass gas while you give your workshops. But it is part of your workshops when you talk about farting. So what if you can fart on cue because
Oh
you
my
have Botox on your butthole?
I don't need Botox to fart on cue, especially.
Oh, she's talented.
No, but I can burp on cue. I can
Oh,
do.
nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, this podcast episode probably is not going the way our listeners thought it would go.
Yeah, this is also, I guess, like, forewarning. This is just a podcast for us to yap. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't really have a plan. I just missed Ray. We haven't talked in like 3 to 4 weeks.
Mhm. Catch up
Yeah,
stuff.
I guess like my personal hate, I
Mhm.
think it's the usual in terms of Ray and I talk a lot of like, should we take this seriously in terms of like our podcast? Like, should we grow it? Should we do our social media? Should we do this? Should we build that? Should we like grow this? And at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm so like, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but I don't have the same drive as I did during grad school. And so I just wanna get paid and then just, like, have my work-life balance.
Yeah.
I hate how everything is, like, just hustling in terms of like, I see it all the time because I subscribe to a lot of newsletters and because I'm also in the space of just, like, we're in the creator economy, like, we are everything is content, and it's just like, I'm tired of everything being content. I'm tired of hustling. So, yeah, I just finished a gig where it was like a 3-month-long gig. And oh my gosh, Ray, like I've done essentially ever since I started my career right out of graduate school and going straight into producing I was gonna say Disney, but a PBS show. Like I went from just like being a grad student to just like going into producing my first science show. It was a huge learning curve. And I feel like every project I've done since is I'm continuing to learn on the job, which I enjoy. Where why am I like this? I was technically like it was a group of us, but eventually I ended up becoming the showrunner, which is essentially just the project manager of making sure I'm writing the script with the host, I am planning the production documents, I am directing when we're on set, I am communicating with the client throughout this whole entire process to get the feedback. I um I did the animations for why am I like this and then make sure I did all like the social stuff that will help like we're promoting. So I like have my hand in
What
everything. Like, I feel like that's where I kinda started calling myself, like, a jack of all like, a jack or Jill of all trades or whatever, and I feel like that's, like, the start of just, like, being a project manager, which is essentially what a producer is.
Mhm.
And so I got to do that with Hungry Planet, I got to do that a little bit with, the PBS Nova thing that I did, and then for this gig was just, like, a different level of that. For the other stuff, we had, like, a whole year to produce something.
Right.
And for this, I had 3 months. And
Dude.
essentially, it was only, like, down to 2 months because the first month was just mostly getting client approval, doing the pitch deck, um, thinking that it was only supposed to be vertical videos, just 60-second vertical videos. At first, it was only gonna be me and, like, my boss or whoever, like, yeah, who the person that hired me. My boss was only supposed to do this, but then we're like, "Oh," in the middle of filming our first interview, they were like, "Oh, we're already you guys are only doing 60-second videos?" Like, "No, we want YouTube videos that are also 2 to 3 minutes long." So, like, in the middle of us filming our first thing, they
It's
already changed the scope
right.
on us.
Oh boy.
And so we're like, "Okay, well, we need more people now." So I
Right.
went from just, like, only supposed to be me and this one other person to then me having to hire on, like, 2 more producers.
Same money?
Um Huh?
Same budget? Or did it
Same
not?
budget,
Oh.
same budget.
Uh,
And, I don't know how much we actually negotiated for because that's, like, as just someone who's contractor, like, I'm not told all
right.
that detail, so I really don't know what the final amount is. Um, but I also know that like, it wasn't as much as we needed,
Mm,
essentially.
wow.
And so I brought on, like, 2 producers to, like, help me because I'm not gonna travel for 3 weeks in a row, like, that's just too much, so producers to help me film this thing. We hired on, like, 4 editors, and then we know finding out, like, even with 4 editors, this still wasn't enough time to get this filmed or get this all done within, like, this time span that they wanted, so we brought 5 editors on, and just a lot of stuff that just happened, but ultimately, yeah, it was just, like, 3 intense months of, like,
Mhm.
managing this project and me communicating with the client, managing this small team
Right.
to get this done. Like, I don't know, it just made me spiral, I was so burnt out after it. It just made me spiral of just kind of like I brought this conversation up in earlier episodes of just like, "Okay, is science communication marketing or is it, like, education?"
Right.
Whatever. And essentially, it's all of it. But I think this project really affirmed my disdain for, like, SciComm for marketing. And it's hard because it's like I grew so much from this project, like,
Right.
I really had to push myself, but I also, like, stretched myself super thin because the end of this project I had to finalize all videos and replace the proxy files with the 4K footage and then finalize like any sound or any color correcting for this project. But I spent like 4 days working like 14 hours from like
Is
9 a.m. to maybe like
that
one day I stayed up until like 4 in the freaking morning to like finalize these videos. And they finally like maybe like a week later, they finally uploaded the videos on their website and it's just like, man, all this work for them to just, like, write a blog about it.
wait, what? Like, did
It
they
was just a blog. It's eventually, they're going to put money behind it and, like, upload
mhm,
it to their YouTube and, like, put money behind pushing it out onto
mhm.
the vertical videos. But it's just so, like, I don't know, man. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. It made me
So,
think a lot.
that sounds exhausting. I feel like you need to take, like, a vacation from
Yeah.
working for a little bit just to recover from this and get some extra sleep, but also, like, the trauma of this and being like, "Can I go back to doing that again?"
No, I know, but it's also, like, hard. I think this maybe start, like, when I was initially talking of just, like, the hustle of everything, because it's like, okay, as a freelancer, I think the biggest risk with freelancing as a science communicator is, like, you always have to think of, like, what's the next project to keep me
Right.
paid. I don't have enough wiggle room to rest.
Mhm.
And so, like, even after these holidays, like, I am, like thankfully, things have tapered off. I have, like, 1 project going on that's gonna be done this week or no, in a couple weeks, but still, like, as a lower stake, lower effort.
Right,
But then after that, it's just like, oh, I have to, like, think about, like, okay, what's the next gig that I have that can, like, keep me
right.
afloat for the next quarter or for the next, however many months. And, yeah, it also just makes me think of, like, in order to get more clients, most of my clientele has been word of mouth,
Mhm.
but because of all of, like, the changes in funding this year, there's less clientele and less money put into it. And so it's just, like, hard. It's just become hard. And so I feel the constant pressure to, like, put myself back on social media to become, like, relevant again because, like, that's how people get gigs. And you and I talk about how, like, in order for us to even get, like, grant funding, they look at our followers, and we don't have that same followers because you and I are just, like, burnt out from just having to do our daytime job.
Right.
And so, man, it's just, like, I'm just so exhausted.
No, I know. No, I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, there's like so many times that I'm also like, yeah, I do want to like follow this freelancing thing and I am doing like some work. Then like jobs come up that sometimes I'm less than enthusiastic about and I still apply because I'm like 401k, insurance, all of that kind of stuff. Um I did actually apply for a job that I was very excited about and I was like, "Oh, like finally something I'm excited about, all of that." And I feel like unless you know someone, you're not even gonna get like a call back. So like I pulled everyone that I know to be like, "Hey, can you let them know that I apply? Can you let them know you work with me? Can you let them know this is like right up my alley?" And after that, like this was like the first time like you finally like you get like you hear back and I got they got back to me with something along the line of like, "Oh, this is like very basic. Like we
Ugh. Mhm.
want someone that like is just like doing like very basic work here." And I'm like, "No, it's like I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do
No,
basic
100%.
work." And I said like and then they were like, "These are all the professional stuff. Maybe we could like do like contracting." And I was like, "You give me this job, I'll do the basic stuff and those things. Like this will cost you less. Just give me this job." I think it's
Yeah.
too desperate.
I know, no, but for real, like, even so this year, in addition to, like, still freelancing for a bit, I've been applying for a lot of jobs, which, yeah, you and I talk about in our hate with, like, finding work. And it just sucks that even I felt the same way immediately after graduating with the PhD of just, like, I'm overqualified for a lot of things, but then underqualified because I don't have the experience. And so, oh, yeah, but I feel that to my core because it's even like, I know as we continue to move forward, it's like, dude, I applied to this low tier job because I want the job or because I need the experience, even though I'm technically overqualified. But then, yeah, there's like a weird dilemma of also people in the corporate space don't see freelancing as like a good thing sometimes because they're like,
Mhm.
oh, this person doesn't know how to like they don't know the corporate politics, they're, like, too independent or too self-sustained that they don't like, for instance, I applied for I don't know if I should say this, but anyways, I wanted to be a video manager for I knew everyone there, I already worked with them as a contractor, but I didn't I eventually ended up learning later on I didn't get the job because someone else that got the job just, like, already worked in the corporate space and knew how to do payroll. I'm like, I can learn how to do payroll in a day. Like, come on, like, that's just stuff you can learn on the job that I can learn the corporate stuff. Like,
Right,
you want to hire me because I have the knowledge of content creation, of video managing, of all these other things. Like, the tiny mundane stuff that's only in the corporate space, I can learn. I can
right,
pick up. Like,
right.
even same thing with, like, this, um, radio job I really wanted.
Mhm.
They wanted a digital manager, like someone to like help them with their digital presence, but then they ended up hiring someone who was already in the radio space.
Right.
And they're like, they kept questioning me, like, well, you've done all this other stuff. Like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I wouldn't be applying if I wasn't interested,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to pivot. I'm trying to experiment. Like, give me that chance. But they just hire with people that have already like are already in it. So it's just so frustrating of just like, okay, you want new people, you want new expertise, but you don't want enough this expertise. But then you also only like, how do you get your foot in the door for higher tier things
right.
unless you're like already in it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I honestly at this point I feel like so much of it is just like who knows whom and what are your networks and connections or
Mhm.
jobs being like uploaded with someone already in mind, which I get like hate but no hate. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be like honest, like I feel like I've been in position where like a job comes up and I'm like, I think this is a job for me.
Mhm.
Um It's just frustrating right now, like, like, people, like, talk about, they have applied for hundreds of jobs, and the only one they got was one where, like, they knew someone there or
Mhm,
they have worked
mhm,
there before or anything like that, so it's just
mhm,
demoralizing, and knowing I I have a career coach because, where I got laid off, great I'm very grateful they offered, like, this career coach, services, and what she was telling me was that I'm gonna be honest, like, I feel like there's only like 10-15% like response rate. I don't know how accurate that is.
mhm.
And a big part of it is because you have like AI deciding like what things go there, and then you have the talent acquisition people, and then there's that layer. So like until it makes it to the person that is either like the person that actually knows what your expertise are or what is needed, like, AI probably has already like put you out of the system
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah. And then, yeah. And another thing to, like, add on to this hate, I just, like, rambled about how much work I put into this gig, but
Mhm.
this gig was, like, I had to sign an NDA, and it's also white labeled, so I can't even get credit for this work, so I'm like, "Ugh, I can't even, like, put this on my website right now to, like, even, like, boast about, like, 'Look at this cool thing that I freaking managed.'"
Right, right, right.
Um,
It is also, like, 'cause it's a good one for when you go, like, with jobs and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, like, can you work under pressure?" You're like, "Can I work under pressure?
yeah.
Allow me."
Can I work under a tight deadline and also manages a team to make sure we get the deliverables and blah, 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 blah? It's like, "Yes, I can. Yes, I
Right, which you
can."
still should. You just have to be like, sign an NDA, so you could trust me that I'm not gonna spill the
I
beans.
know, exactly. Well,
Right.
I guess I don't know. I'll try to find a way around it, but it's just it was so frustrating. Oh, it does make me think of someone submitted to the hotline, and
Mhm.
we never answered it.
Yeah,
We haven't
let's do bring it up.
Yeah, let me find it for a moment.
And then while we do that, please still stay tuned. We're still collecting creep stories. So if you want to share your creep stories, please do reach out. Can be on WhatsApp, our Instagram, our email. And you decide what a creep story is. Is it someone just being creepy? If someone creeped you out? And was it at work and science communication? Any of that? Please do share. We will share them anonymously, unless you insist that they're not anonymous. In that case,
We'll credit you. We'll credit
we'll
you for your
credit you.
story.
Correct, that's the other that's right.
Okay, this is a bit long, but we can probably cut it in post. Hi, Ray and Steph. First off, love your podcast. I randomly stumbled upon a reel on Instagram and now hooked. They are currently a PhD student who has been exploring the science communication world for about a year with various outreach events and independent projects they've been working on, including a little bit of SciComm social media. They wanted to hear our thoughts about something that they've been experiencing while trying to break into science communication after being in the academic space. They know that they love science communication and that it's impactful and they can really see themselves doing this full time one day. But also they find themselves feeling shy, nervous, and even embarrassed to tell their peers and especially their academic faculty that they're doing science communication, especially on social media. People generally react positively, but it often comes with an almost condescending air of like, "Oh, that's cute that you do that on the side." Granted, some of the projects have geared more towards science communication through entertainment, which doesn't feel serious, but they've also won an award from the university for their science communication work. And they're also doing a science communication related fellowship right now. And they still get these types of reactions. Like it isn't real or meaningful or serious to pursue or serious pursuit to other people. And have we experienced anything similar to this? And how do we handle it?
First of all, like, kudos to this listener for continuing doing their science communication stuff, considering, everything and all the attitudes, and, you're doing your fellowship, your congratulations on the awards and everything. We're fans of yours. Please continue doing what you're doing. Um, can I, Stephanie, go ahead and add like so there's actually this thing called the Carl Sagan effect. So when Carl Sagan was doing like his science communication, he was like doing a lot of like science as well. And I think if I remember the story correctly, there was like a scientific award, and they were like debating if they should give it to like Carl Sagan or someone else. And when you looked at like the credentials and stuff, like everyone had like the same credentials, like scientific wise and like accomplishments. But Carl Sagan also did a lot of science communication. And I think it was that perception that led to like him not getting the award, and the award was given to someone else. Cause like he does science communication. He is not doing enough science, right? So they basically call it the Carl Sagan effect, where when you do science communication, it might be perceived that you're not doing enough science. And you always hear the stories from like people say like, oh yeah, my advisor said like, if you're not doing science, then like why are you even here? Like why are you doing science communication? So that attitude will always exist. It even existed for like big fancy science communicators like Carl Sagan. But I think what is helpful to think about is what is the impact of doing science communication too. Like you see at Carl Sagan, people literally get his quotes like tattooed on their bodies. Like it has changed people's lives. It has changed how they want to like, study, do whatever. And it's not just like someone as big as Carl Sagan. It's like, I'm sure you might not know it, but you have through your science communication said something or showed something where someone saw it and like felt different or was inspired or felt like, oh, this is something that I could do. And I think sometimes it's just like that mind shift of I am having an impact. I have impact with my science, but I have impact with my science communication. In the same way, some people are like, oh, like you're doing science, da 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 da, or like you don't belong or anything. People will say the same thing about science communication too. It's gonna be hard, but just like, keep going. Sorry if it's like really cliche. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Steph?
I don't know if I shared this in our first episode or not, but I think I have shared that I, like, failed out of chemistry technically. But I knew I was doing too much science communication work and not enough science. And so that was, like, what jeopardized my ability to not win, what's the word? To pass my candidacy and to stay in the program. But I made sure because of already having I had the same experience in terms of, like, other people just thinking like, "Oh, her science communication work is cute. It's just like an app like a side thing that she's doing." But also no one really knew the full extent of, like, how much I was finding other opportunities to, like, really foster my desire to learn more about science communication. And so but when it came to my qualifying exam, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna talk about my science communication at all." And
Mm.
so it's just gonna be the science. So I presented my work. I made sure to not even talk about it, but at the very end, when I'm being, like, questioned, my advisor brought it up. He's like, "Oh, like, Stephanie, do you wanna share anything about, like, your future doctor's work or whatever?" And of course, I'm like, "Yeah, like, I did this, and, did this and this and this or whatever." So, leave the room, they discuss, I come back in, and immediately told I failed, and, ugh, trauma triggered.
Mhm.
But, one of the things that, like, he told me was just like, "Obviously, you love science communication more than doing science research because when you talked about it, you, like, lit up and you were, like, proud about it. But, like, I didn't do enough science to, like, really pass, and you already knew going into this that you weren't going to pass, but you don't need your PhD to do science communication. Like, just leave with your master's and just do your science communication work." And it was, like, a shitty feeling. Yeah. Of just, like I felt, like, a little belittled,
Mhm.
Of
Right.
just, yes, technically, I don't need my PhD to do science communication, but also, like, the privileges and opportunities that I got to earn because I was, like, in a graduate program and could use a student card. And, like, also, like, not being good enough or not not being good enough to, like, pass my chemistry exam, but not taken but kind of being taken serious for my science communication work, but also being like, "You don't need your PhD for that. Just kind of
Yeah.
like, just go off and just do your SciComm." And so it's just, like, not patronizing. I don't know, a little patronizing in
Yeah.
a sense.
Yeah.
I did a career panel with some, like, high school students and, like, kinda told them how I pivoted. I
Mhm.
didn't go into the weeds or whatever, but I just told them, like, I pivoted, like, I was in a chemistry program, but then I learned about science communication and pivot, and one of the questions were like, would there have been a world where I would have stayed in science?
Mhm.
And I was like, I think I would have if I was in a better program, like, that supported and helped mentor me in the first place. Because like, the only reason I fell into science communication was because I wasn't getting the support I needed to, like, do my science work. And then the other career panels where they're like, "Did you know you wanted to be a science communicator?" It's like, I didn't. Like, I kinda just, like, fell into it because I wasn't fitting into this other thing. And I always feel like this imposter syndrome with even within, like, our science communication of just, like, yeah, like you're mentioning with the Carl Sagan effect, like, I'm no longer a scientist because I don't practice science, but also I, like, love science communication, but I'm not like other science communicators where, like, I can talk about anything and I'm, like, passionate about, like, other types of sciences. I enjoy the science of science communication, and I enjoy talking to scientists and learning about science and helping other scientists tell their stories,
Right.
or other people, like, tell their science stories. But I'm not, like, the person to be like, "Look at the galaxy over here and let me talk to you about this," and hop on the hop on social media for it. So I even still feel like imposter syndrome within SciComm, but I know I'm good at it. And
Mm.
so for this listener to know that you are, like, getting validation of, like, getting fellowships and getting awards. I had that same thing where it's just like, I got the AAAS Mass Media Fellowship, I got to go to Jackson Wild, I had all these other things when I sought out opportunities to further develop my SciComm, I was, like, winning because I had this proof of concept of future doctors
Right.
and continued to foster that and got that validation that, like, "Oh, what you're doing is cool and what you're doing is important,
Mm.
and, like, this is something that you can do as a career." So the fact that you're already getting that validation, I feel like it's just, like, enough to continue to push yourself knowing that there is always going to be people that don't take it seriously or don't see the importance of it, or yeah, like it's not as cool as actually doing science or as important as doing, like, the actual science work. So yeah, I don't know.
I have nothing to add. This was just so, dude, so vulnerable and heartwarming and all of that. It's also just hearing that story. God, how long have we known each other? Like since like 2018-ish, 19, right?
I think 2019 was when we did Jackson Wild.
Like knowing that story and just seeing. Yeah, I think I like the idea of like winning. Like you have like reached so many things and have been so much happier. And even when imposter hits, I think deep inside, like you still know that you're the shit.
Mhm.
And to me, that's like just like such a beautiful way of like seeing why like science communication matters. And honestly, if there was any part of the story I wish would have changed, would have been I wish the science communication for you was a part of the science. Like you were given space to breathe and live that science communication as you are doing science. Like I remember something that came out recently was a paper called Science Communication as Pockets of Belonging, where it was
Mhm.
talking about like how many people end up staying in science because they managed to be like, okay, like I'm not just a scientist. Like this is not just my identity. I also do science communication. I want to be with my community. I want to do all these things, and when that space existed in the scope of like do science, and that existed, they ended up staying in science. And I think if that was something you wanted to do, like continue doing the science as well, I wish they would have given you the space and you had the opportunities to do science communication next to your science. um,
Yeah.
and I wonder how that would have been different.
Yeah, 100%. 'Cause I even when I talked to, like, other graduate students who've, like, reached out to me when they were, like, interested in, like, "I love doing science, but I love doing science communication, like, how did you do it?" Or whatever. That's one thing that I try to, like, advocate, being like, "If your professor's cool with it, like, yeah, maybe it can just be written as a chapter." Like,
Right.
dissertations can look like anything at this point.
Yeah.
I know there's, like, specific things that we have to do for, you know, within at least, like, the sciences of just, like, you have to publish a paper or whatever, but, like, a dissertation is, like, your own portfolio of, like, all the work that you did, so there is ways around, like, combining both.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, so it just kinda sucked. Well, I knew I was gonna fail. Like, I knew I didn't do enough science because I love science communication so much more. And my circumstances were a little bit different. But I think for others who are, like, actually truly passionate about science, like, that could have been fostered. Like,
Mhm.
the reason why I even entered into science communication, or maybe not enter into science communication, but at least, like, try to push through to finishing the chemistry PhD knowing that I wasn't really surviving or thriving, um, was listening to Mónica feliu Mójer
Mhm.
in, Josh's podcast, the what was it called? The
Uh,
PhD student, PhD life, I think
uh,
it's called.
let me look it up while you do that. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But that episode, Monica was trying to like, she hated grad school, I think, and she, like, wanted to drop out, and, like, also doing, like, science communication on the side and love science communication, but she actually had advisors that were like, "Look, Monica, like, winning not winning, graduating with your PhD can, like, help open doors or whatever, like, we will help you make it to the finish line and get you through it, and then you can do whatever you want."
Mhm.
Like, I got the opposite of that. And so, yeah, I'm curious for this listener if, like, they actually have a supportive advisor or they don't, because that really does make a difference.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
just, like, what you mentioned, Ray, of just, like, if my advisor was just like, "Look, Stephanie, I know you're passionate about science communication, but I will work with you. We can find a way to do both."
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead, it was just like, "Ugh, you didn't take chemistry serious enough, and you like this other thing, so, like, just go do your have your master's and go do your little project on the side. Like,
Mhm.
you can be
Yeah.
good."
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely for me was different. The difference was exactly in that my PhD advisor, Dr. Michelle Shumate, who I love so much, was very much from the beginning. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stay in academia or industry. I think I want to do science communication. And she said, well, how about we build your skills so that you can do a very good research study, but also you have a good network in industry. And can hopefully like get a job in like science communication and stuff. And she was like, I can help you with this parts of it. Now like figure out like who are the science communication people that you need to connect to. And that's how I ended up like getting people from outside like Dietram Scheufele and John Besley ended up like and joining my committee. But it was just very much about like, what do you want? Let's figure out how we can make that happen. These are the things I can help you with. These are the things you need to figure out and let me know how I can help you with that. And that was super helpful. The podcast is Hello PhD.
Hello, PhD.
Hello
Okay, cool.
PhD. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, yeah, so I don't know, yeah, for this listener, I hope they're just, like, finding whatever opportunities. Yeah, I just, like, take advantage of, like, the grad student card and just apply for any opportunity while you still have, like, the academic support. And also just, like, yeah, find people that will still advocate for you or be on your corner or believe in your science communication work. Because like, the reason why I was able to pivot into doing my PhD in science communication was because I ended up eventually finding faculty who, like, understood the importance of SciComm and saw what I was doing and saw the potential impact that it can do, and they wanted to, like, be invested in me and then be invested in that project, and so that's how I was able to, like, pivot to do a PhD in science communication.
Yeah.
So yeah, but look at us, always being vulnerable, always being vulnerable. How should we end? Should we end talking about what do we want for ourselves for next year?
Oh my god, that is whoa, okay, sure. Yeah, I haven't thought about it, so you start.
Well, I haven't thought about it either. I think the short-term stuff is just always like, okay, you and I are both looking for work, so hopefully some kind of door
Mhm.
opens for that. Um, I don't know, I think offline, you and I need to talk about, like, do we wanna put more energy into hotline or just keep it as just like a side, like a low energy.
Maybe our audiences could send us some feedback on how has this been helpful? How has it not? What do they wanna see? What was a thing that they saw that helped them? Or yeah, just I think giving us end of year feedback would be helpful. Some of you see us in person, some of you follow us on Instagram, and we follow you. So just find a way to let us know things. I think that would be kind of nice, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for our friends for being supportive and listening to us yap.
Yeah,
And then yeah, hopefully we can just continue to yap.
yeah.
But
Send us
mhm,
your creep
mhm.
stories, please.
All right, Ray. Well, I hope you have a safe surgery for your anal fissures.
Name it. Name it.
Name it, name it. And then yeah, I And to our listeners, have a safe holiday and happy new year, and we'll talk to you when we talk to you.
Yeah. Bye.
Make my own rules, play my own games. I don't give a what you say or think.